burn and drown the flowers. It's Mercedes Sarmini. How are you today, Mercedes?
Blooming, cooling down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was hot over the few days, so it's very refreshing to see some rain again in Sydney.
It is indeed. And today we've got some flowers because you're going to talk about that some flowers need special conditioning.
They certainly do. Well, they're blooming personalities, Marianne. So I've brought 3 blooming personalities with me. So in my right hand here, I've got Miss Rose, and when it comes to special treatment, she certainly has a few up the sleeve. With Miss Rose, you can scald it. So what does scalding mean?
Boiling water?
Yes, put the kettle on, and until the water is boiled, then you put it into a jar, shallow water that is. Recut the stem with Miss Rose because it's female. So what do? We slip on the heels like so. And in the shallow water, and let's just improvise and pretend that this is scalding water, you count 5 to 10 seconds and you'll notice that bubbles start coming out to the surface. That then means that your Miss Rose is burping.
Ah.
And as the bubbles stop, that's when you take the stem out of the water and then you put it in deep warm water, because you can't take it out of boiling water and put it straight into cold because it goes into shock. So you take it out of boiling water, you put it into warm water and let it sit, in the corner overnight, and the next day it comes out straighter, stronger and ready to go.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm going to try that as soon as I get home, because now roses are all coming out everywhere all over Australia because it's rose season, really.
It is, and if you want them to last longer, scald it. But as you're scalding, before I forget, make sure you cover the bloom, because you don't want the steam to then affect your petals. And as soon as it looks like it needs a holiday, scald again. And with roses as well, you can drown. They also drink from their petals.
Wow.
Yeah. So either way, drown, scald, they both work. And presto, adding extra kilometres to your Miss Rose.
Oh, that's fabulous. And yes, you've just demonstrated you've got a long, tall vase full of water and you've dunked the rose flowers.
And may I add, Marianne, the water has been burped, so that water there in the vase has been standing for 4 hours. So I'll put Miss Rose aside, enough of her.
Okay.
Let's talk about the men.
Oh, okay, so you've got an orchid here.
I do, Mr. Dendrobium orchid in my left hand. They also love a drowning. So the first thing that you do when you bring your orchid into your space is that you need to drown it, as I'm demonstrating at the moment. I'm putting it upside down into the water in the vase, and you can leave it down like that for a minimum of 15 minutes if it's fresh, if you've bought it fresh. But if you are drowning because it needs a holiday, you need to leave that for a minimum of 45 minutes, but better overnight. And then the next day, what you do, you take it back out, give it a little bit of a shake like that. Because it's male, you cut the stem flush, as you can see there. And then it just sits in the vase, and every second day you need to mist it with burped water, not water from the tap. It needs to be misted every second day, and that'll keep it hydrated. And as soon as you see it needs a holiday again,
same thing.
Same thing. You just drown it.
Wow.
Whether it's overnight or a minimum of 15 minutes. Recut the stem flush because it is male, and it can last up to 6 weeks.
Golly, that's a value for money.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Now the Europeans spend a lot of money, moolah, they say, on cut flowers, because they are educated about how to get extra kilometres or value for money for their cut flowers, unlike us Australians. But this is what this show's all about. We are here sharing all the secret tips and skill sets of floristry, and we want your dollar to go further. It's all about spreading smiles across Australia, isn't it, Marianne?
It certainly is. It certainly is. And I've got some use for flowers that are finished.
Oh, I love a bit of gossip, Marianne.
Well, I had earlier on the show, I had an art therapist on, and she
Yep.
said you can make yourself a mandala,
Mm.
which is a circle. So you make an outer circle with any found objects. Plant material is excellent.
Yep.
And you can fill it with stones or whatever, more plant material, maybe from your vase,
Yep.
and put it on your dinner table. It's
Oh.
like an act of mindfulness. So when you're kind of busy and running around and, oh, God, the people are coming soon and the stuff's in the oven and I've got to get ready, do that and that will kind of calm you down.
I need a lot of that at the moment.
Okay.
Now, just to wrap it up, I've got a very beautiful specimen here in my hand, Queen's Anne's lace. It's very fragile, very moody, quite anal, if I may say. Yeah. But with this delightful specimen, very thirsty drinker, loves a drink. So the first thing that you need to do when it comes to Queen's Anne's lace is put it in warm water. And why warm water? Because warm water travels faster up the stem than cold water, and it hits the head. So we need to bring it out of coma. And always remember, listeners, you need to recut the stem if it's been out of water for 15 minutes, because if it's not cut, it's not bleeding, and if it's not bleeding, guess what? It won't drink. So no cutting, and if you put it into water, it's like trying to drink coffee with a band-aid over your mouth. It's not possible.
Well, yeah, okay, I get your meaning.
Yeah.
So the stem has got the sap, that's why you need to recut it, is that right?
Absolutely, because it starts to bleed
Yes.
once it makes contact with blades, and as it bleeds, it then has the opportunity to drink. But I just want to also speak about milky saps.
Yes, I was going to ask you exactly that.
Yeah.
About euphorbias, for example, they have milky saps.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you've got a lighter, and I'm just going to improvise here.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend my secateur is a lighter.
Yeah.
Couldn't bring the lighter into the studio
No,
of
really.
Blossoms. So if that's, let's just say, a frangipani or a euphorbia or even a poppy.
Yes.
So your lighter is on and you are burning the stem until you can see visually that it's been burnt, and then you put it into water, because without doing that, it won't drink
Okay.
properly.
So that's quite the reverse, almost, if you like, about that particular plant. So now when you burn the stem, are you burning right through the stem or just the outer?
Outer. Very good question. Yep. Because that'll stop the bleeding, which is the milky sap. And then when that stops, then it's capable of drinking.
Now, what about woody stems? Do you need to hammer those? Like say hydrangeas, or that's different? I'm like mixing up.
There are florists out there, and I'm not here to cut anybody's bushes down. If it works for you, great stuff. But
no.
I believe cut flowers have feelings, and violence does not create silence. So cut flowers are like women, and if you treat them well, they're more likely to stick around. I'm all about peace, love, and unity. So I'm not into bashing.
Fantastic. I think we need to work on that mandala.
Indeed.
Well, it's been lovely chatting with you, Mercedes, once again. Thanks for coming in and talking to
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.